Alright, so tonight I'm going to be... This is the last episode of the 5-part Roguelite double feature series, and tonight I'm going to be replaying 4 games, one of which hasn't been featured on this channel before, 3 of which have. I figured for the finale it might be nice if you get to see me actually win at these games for once, which is why I'm not going to be playing them live. I'm here live, commentating, and if anyone actually wants to talk to me, we could do that. Not likely. But these are pre-recorded games that I painstakingly gathered over the last 2 nights so that you get to see me actually have winning runs for once. I know, rare, doesn't happen. So let's just jump right into it. So this is Super Mutant Alien Assault. It's essentially a spiritual successor to Super Crate Box, which was a popular game on mobile and PC. And this is the game that hasn't been featured on the channel before. So I figured we'd start off with that, something interesting. And the idea is that you complete your secondary objectives while also protecting yourself from various alien invaders. You can see in the center here, that little robot is me. And all these guys popping in through the doors need to be got dead before I do. So that right there is a chakram. You control it psychically, and it has sort of a scatter bomb effect when it hits things, which I tend to blow myself up with more than anything else. Yeah, that's level 1. Just gotta kind of mop up the last little guy there. So this game takes place apart 3 galaxies, each of which has 3 normal levels and a boss. In hyperdrive mode, the goal is to get 3 canisters of fuel from, you see that machine on the left side, to that one there on the right. The catch is, if you try to teleport while you're holding it, it breaks. It doesn't matter for me though, because I didn't actually bring a teleport ability. I brought Sprint, as you can see me using there. One complaint I have about this objective is that while you're in hyperspeed, everything lags. And my computer should not be lagging with this game, so it feels like it was an intentional design decision. And like, I don't mind some good slow-mo when a game does it right, but it just makes things feel a little bit less responsive the way it's implemented here. You can see the frame rate stuttering. That's actually the game, that's not the stream doing that. One interesting mechanic with this game is, you see how that fly is glowing? If you take too long to kill enemies, they'll accumulate radiation. Certain levels even have machines emitting radiation that makes the process faster. Like in this level, you see that thing in the center there, beam of radiation. So if you leave your enemies alive for too long, they'll evolve and get stronger. So it really puts the pressure on you to finish them off as quickly as possible. Kind of like how in Super Crate Box, which this is taking after, if an enemy was allowed to get all the way to the bottom of the screen, they'd come back at the top of the screen, but faster and stronger. That item he's using right now, that's the mini chakram, the sidearm. That's actually like my favorite sidearm in the game. Sometimes I'll just use that instead of getting an actual weapon from the machine. And when you have a sidearm, you're guaranteed to always have that. It's what you use by default when you're not carrying a bigger gun. So I like to equip that as my starting weapon, as opposed to taking a perk or an item or an ability. Alright, so here's the first boss. This run was kind of weird in that they gave me all swarm type bosses. Nope, I'm thinking of a different run where I lost. This is actually the standard big guy you get. So as you can see, he's a giant version of those green dudes I've been fighting. And if you look at top center, he has just an absolute shit ton of health. Like, it's massively inconvenient how healthy he is. And every time you damage him, he drops these red pools of blood. You see him bubble in there? If you step on those, they hurt you. But conveniently, I have the pogo stick weapon right now, which means I can bounce right over those unharmed. Actually made me take a lot less damage in this fight than I would have, because, of course, I'm not actually good at this game. Come on, buddy. Takes forever to die. There we go. And then you still gotta kill everybody else in the room. And I managed to damage myself on his blood pool for no reason. Shouldn't have even gone over there. So if you've been noticing, the green machines dispense guns and the red machines dispense explosives. You can't actually choose which one you get. It gives you one at random. So it's a strategic decision when you decide to swap out your gun for a new one, because that's the main way you get more ammo, is you pick up a new gun. But if you're holding a gun you like, you don't want to do that too soon, because you don't know what you're going to get next. And these explosives I have right now, I just really do not like. I tend to blow myself up more than the enemies. I prefer the ones that you just place, and then you hit the button again to detonate them. But there's only 2 that act like that, and the rest are like throwables or mines. This game type is called Pressure. You can see those 2 little machines, like that one on the right just stood up. And basically when they're active, the machine will gradually fill its bar there. And you need to turn it back off, or it'll do a shockwave that damages you no matter where in the stage you are. So it kind of gives you this pressure to run back and forth between 2 different spots in the level. And you see I failed to get that one right there. That way you can keep shutting the machines off and avoid damage. Wow, I forgot what a beating I took in that one. Like, look at my health. Down to 1.5 hearts out of 5. I think at this point in the run I was like, I'm gonna lose. There's no way I'm gonna win this one. So, yeah. But one thing the game's good about, it tends to be pretty forgiving about giving you health drops in the crates when you're low on health, which is why that last crate just gave me a full heart instead of like ammo or something. Given that you just, you pick up more guns from the machines all the time and you've got a sidearm, you don't really need ammo that bad. So like honestly, hearts are my favorite thing to find in a crate, because I take a lot of hits when I play these games. This minigun here is normally such a pain to kill flying enemies. Because I've got the hover jump, I can just hover right at the same level as them while it spins up. Ooh, and this thing. The giant explosive ball, which I always get myself with, because it blows up like 1/3 of the screen. You can see it's effective in taking out the bad guys. You just gotta run away after you throw it. Right, coming up on the last level of Ship 2. So this machine I just used here in the center, that red one, that's a health pack machine. You can only use it a finite number of times, but easily the best machine in the game because it keeps you alive. And if you look in the bottom left, that little computer icon, I've got a special ability that lets me hack each machine once. And when you use it on the health pack machine, it'll recharge 1 more time than it otherwise would have. So you get an extra half heart that it wouldn't have given you. And I really need it with how much of a beating I'm taking here. Like, you can see my health, I'm back down to 1.5 again. Real sloppy. That ball I'm carrying right now, I have to get that to that machine there. And you gotta do, I think, 4 of those. The catch is, when you're carrying the ball, you cannot attack. Attempting to attack makes you drop the ball. And if an enemy breaks it, they get a bunch of mutation points and get stronger. Which you see happen a few times because I'm a clod and I keep trying to shoot things while I'm holding the ball. Which is a big no-no. But there we go, that's completed now, and I just gotta kill the remaining 3 guys. Who is talking to me on Facebook? I'm getting blown up. Oh, that's not related to the stream. I will look at it later. Here's the second boss. I actually don't remember which one I got here. I think yeah, this is when I started getting the swarm bosses. So, these guys aren't that scary individually, but as you can see, there's a bunch of them. And when they die, they turn into a bunch more. So you'll finish killing the big ones, and the game's like, okay, just finish up, but you're still getting chased by like a huge swarm, so it's kind of easier said than done. These guys actually killed me twice in my off-screen attempts when I was trying to get a winning run on this. Although I gotta say, this game was not the one that gave me the most trouble in terms of getting a winning run. It's a little bit more forgiving than a lot of roguelikes. Part of why I chose it, because it's colorful and fun, and I didn't think it would take me too long to do. Yeah, just all those irradiated flies up in your biz. And that's not even the smallest size, that's the second smallest. I can't believe how much of this run I spent at 1.5 hearts. Like, looking back on it now, I was close to death a lot more often than I realized. Now you see that explosive I just picked up looks like a little walkie-talkie. That's C4, one of my favorite types, because you just drop it and it stays where it is, and then you hit the button again to blast it, and it makes a big blast radius with a lot of damage. So you see right there, I went to the machine and I didn't grab from it because I didn't want a different explosive. I hacked the machine, which gives me more ammo for the same explosive. So now I've got 12 C4. And I'm not going to use those yet, but just keep them in mind. Right now, we just got to clean up all the little brains. Get him. Is it... I'm not seeing any of the pressure valves go up, did I? Okay, yeah, I haven't completed the side objective yet. It's like it's been an awful while since any of those activated. There it is. So when it says finish them, that means you've completed your secondary objective and you have to just finish killing all the dudes. And I got jumped on trying to mess with the machine. Good job, Zach. There we go. So those little green dots that keep dropping, I'm picking up a lot more of them than I'm using, but those are charged for your special ability, in this case hacking. You can see it up there, the S next to my health bar. The way you get those is kind of interesting. You have to kill enemies that have become irradiated, which like I said makes them stronger and you tend to avoid doing it. But the way you charge your special ability is you let them get irradiated and then you kill them. Given that I'm not hacking a lot, I don't need to do this intentionally. How often they get irradiated without me meaning them to is plenty for my purposes. This situation here is kind of awkward. You can see my chakram down there at the bottom. I actually didn't want to pick up a gun at this point, but I had to because I could not get my chakram to come back being around the wall the way it was, and that fly was coming in kind of trapping me. And then I remembered, oh, I need to be delivering fuel. I haven't been doing that. So now we're back on that. There we go. Thinking back on it now, I think this game may have actually been my introduction to dubstep. Like, I don't know if I'd actually heard much before the soundtrack to this game.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep, that lag. Failing at jumps because the hyperdrive makes everything lag. You're moving so fast that it feels like you're moving slow. You can see that guy on the left just running back and forth, jumping. That's because he seems to prioritize your vertical position when you're further away and your horizontal position when you're closer. So I was standing underneath the platform he was on, and then I was standing far away from him, so he just could not figure out how to path to me. Alright, this is the last non-boss level. So really we're just finishing up at this point. But if you look at my health, I am currently at 1.5 after using the health machine. So I'm looking to try and get as much health as possible before the final boss. And this actually is not a bad layout. There's one spawn door in the middle, 2 windows in the corners. I mean, yeah, the enemies are spawning pretty quick this late in the game, but it's not like I'm playing on hard difficulty. I really just gotta remain consistent and not do anything stupid. See, I've already finished the side objective. Now we're up to 18 C4. I'm like, oh yeah, that is what I have. Let me throw one just to test. The 3 hearts, that's not so bad. You can see I'm kind of dilly-dallying finishing these guys off because I'm hoping the health machine will give me a couple more. Like, I could have killed that little guy, but I'm waiting. And then I completely failed to grab the last health because I wasn't thinking about it. So here is the final boss for this run. Nothing too scary, just a big version of those hoppy guys. But still, I only have 3.5 hearts, and, you know, pressure's on. This has been the whole run I've had low health. But here we go. I saved the C4. I had 15 C4 coming into this, and he just is completely stun locked. Like, he can't even move. I don't think he even hit me once, actually. C4 the little guys, just for overkill. Try to C4 that guy and miss. And we made it. So now we're moving on to the next game, which, if I remember correctly, Crypt of the Necrodancer. This one, I think, was actually part of the first Roguelite double feature, and I just could not get a winning run. You do not want to know how long it took for me to get this one. I was very rusty on this game. So starting right off with the Ring of Charisma, which I found immediately, you're going to notice that my luck is pretty good in these runs, because luck is part of the reason I even won at all. Finding a Ring of Charisma right off the bat is great. Good job getting hit by the Dire Bat, dude. Finding a Ring of Charisma so early is great, because it means every shop I encounter is going to be super cheap until I get a different ring. So that just, in terms of building my starting kit, is really helpful, because a lot of times you have to pick like one weapon or one item from each shop, and you can't afford the rest until you get further into the game. When you have an early Ring of Charisma, you can buy anything you want the whole game, and it really shows, like, in terms of how fast your power curve grows. So that's a real strong way to start. Like, I'd take a Ring of Charisma over a good weapon or shovel, you know, any day for level 1. This red bat here, you already saw one of those hit me. Unlike most bats who move every other turn, the Crimson Bat moves every turn, which means if you stand next to him, there's a good chance he's going to swing at you. And there's just nothing you can do about that. That's why I danced around for a while and then just decided he wasn't worth it. I was like, yeah, for the 2 coins I might get, I don't want to take more damage. Plus they do twice as much damage. They take a full heart off of you. So I was like, nah, we're just going to leave him alone. But that's one of the scariest enemies you meet real early on, aside from the level bosses. Because they're not going to kill you, but they're going to take a bite out of you if you're not real careful. And a lot of how you beat these games is consistency. You do not want to be taking a hit here or hit there. Because if you do, you're going to die. Like, you're just not going to have enough health to get through the whole game. So what I'm doing right here is I want to get into that barrel for potentially a food item. But you can't break boxes and barrels outright unless you're doing 3 damage in 1 hit. And right now I'm doing 1 damage per hit because I've got the starter dagger. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for something to break it with. Either a bomb, and I have a bomb in my pocket, but I only got 1, so I don't want to use it up. Or a spike trap, or a trapdoor to drop it down. And I'm kind of finding a few things like that here. So I think I may have just ditched the barrel because the song's halfway over. But that's what you would do to open a barrel. This is the blood shop. You actually pay health for these items. And the reason I just bought 2 of them is because I'm like, well, I already took damage. Either I'm going to win or I'm going to lose. Might as well go big or go home. So now I'm at 1 heart, and I have to kind of hold on until I manage to heal. But the stuff I just grabbed gives me defense, so I take less damage per hit. And that really bright torch lets me look through walls and kind of see enemies and items as silhouettes before I get into the room, which is really helpful for discovering secret rooms. And I did not make it down the stairs because I took too long. One of the neat things about this game is it has a lot of different soundtracks, all of which are pretty good. And the soundtrack's real important because you're dancing to the beat. You can see it there at the bottom. If you step off beat, your character just misses their turn. So the soundtrack I chose for this run is the Danganronpa one, because I think it sounds pretty interesting and weird compared to the others. But you can actually choose one of like 6 different soundtracks, or just randomize it so each level you get 1 song from a random soundtrack. Like each soundtrack has a specific song for each level, but it'll still randomize which soundtrack you pull from. So now I've got a whip here which only does 1 damage, but you can essentially attack as far away as a knight in chess does. So, like, if someone is 1 step in front of you and 2 to the left, and you hit forward, you'll hit them from that far away. It gives you a lot of range, which is how you stay safe. And you saw earlier I killed a red dragon like that. The whip is serious business. It kind of sucks that I'm on level 2 and I'm still using a 1 damage weapon, but I'd rather play defensively and stay far away from enemies, so I'm happy to have the range. Now these ghosts right here, like I just killed, when you're moving towards them, they turn invisible and can't be hit. The trick is you gotta move away one step, and then they start chasing you, and that's when you get swing at them. It kind of makes me think maybe they were inspired by Boos from Mario, but I feel like that's a common thing with video game ghosts. Here's another one right here. And those wraiths just kind of charge you. This is a good find. I just bought cheese at the shop, which lets me heal the 2 hearts I was missing, and I've got a fencing sword now, which still is a 1 damage weapon, but critically, if you lunge towards an enemy by thrusting from 1 square away, it doubles your damage. So I can use it like a 2 damage weapon if I do it right, and it gives you a lot of flexibility for chasing opponents that get knocked back, and if you get other damage bonuses later on, it'll sack with those. So if I manage to find sunglasses, for example, which give +1 damage, my lunge would then do 4 damage, which can break boxes. I love this song. So the interesting thing about this cracked wall here, typically a cracked wall with 3 durability like that will be a special shop. My favorite's the food shop purple, which will give you some empty heart containers and a food item sufficient to fill them. So you can actually add 1 to 3 hearts to your health total. But I don't have any bombs right now, so I didn't actually have a way of opening that shop. And we got our first Dark Minotaur. His thing is once he sees you, he charges you and does a ton of damage if he hits you, so you gotta like sidestep and get out of his way. But he's one of the easier ones to fight. I like fighting him better than dragons. I've got this shopping spree coupon up top there. I don't actually remember what I ended up spending that on. That's a good item because the next thing you buy is free. But I think I may have just bought something cheap without thinking about it. Yeah, we're gonna see right here. Yeah, I got the armor for free. Not that I would have really wanted that cat of 9 tails. I don't really like how limiting the range on it is. So I guess it couldn't be helped because I did want the armor. First boss fight. So per his name, you're dancing to a death metal song, and you can see here I'm trying to dance back and forth and get a feel for how fast it is. And I didn't notice it at the time, but I totally left a bomb behind in that start room. I did not realize there was a bomb in that room. That's kind of a waste. So you can see already the fencing sword is doing a lot of legwork to let me lunge at him. Normally he's hard to catch, but I just chased him down and killed him, so it worked out okay. Cutscene we're going to skip because we don't need to know about Cadence's family problems. Cadence is the main character. These golems are interesting. They hit hard, but they take like 3 turns to move. So if your timing is good, you can really just dish out a total beating before they even respond. These armadillos are invincible while they're rolling, but you can deflect them in a specific direction by hitting them, and once they hit a wall, they're vulnerable for 2 frames. Hey, there's some heart containers. Let's buy those. Now that torch there is multiplier based, all the blue items are. That means my multiplier at the bottom center of the screen, which is dependent on how well I'm staying on beat, will determine the strength of the item. So it could be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 strength torch, that many tiles being how far I can see away. But given that I already have a torch that's 3 strengths all the time, not interested in that as a multiplier weapon. Now if I found a blue fencing sword, I would totally go for that, but I don't think I see that in this run. One item I am trying to get, you see that bottle there, the silhouette to the left? That's an extra life, which is totally critical to success if you're a bad player like me. The reason I waited this long to pick it up is it's inside 2 strength tiles, which I cannot dig right now. So I need to find bombs before I could get to it. But I just found like 4 bombs, so we're all good now. This shrine here, I actually forget what it does, but I think we're going to bomb it, so it doesn't matter. Shrines will have game-altering effects if you interact with them, and a lot of times they're not effects that I want because I'm not a good player, and I need things to be nice and consistent and normal if I'm going to survive. Well, I had a lot of fucking trouble with that skeleton. But one thing you can do if you don't want a shrine is you can bomb it, and you'll get an item that's usually a straight upgrade instead of a trade-off. It's just less of an upgrade than the good parts of if you interact with the shrine. But still, it's better than nothing. So that's why I pushed the barrow here, because I want to bomb both at once. And it gives you a pacifism ring. Oh, I remember. The reason this was a winning run is because the pacifism ring gives you more health and less enemies to fight. So it's not good if you're going for a high score, but if you are terrible at this game and just want to win, it's excellent. Does mean I had to put down the ring of charisma from level 1, but I'll take an extra heart and less enemies to fight any day. So right now I've got 6 heart containers and only 1 heart. So I'm really sad I didn't get to open that red chest, which may have had food in it. All the heart containers in the world won't do you any good if you run out of health, which is why food is the best item, because food keeps you alive. More armadillos. And hey, now that there's another 3 strength cracked tile and I actually have bombs, we can get to the purple shop I was talking about earlier. Get those heart containers, fill 2 of them, and now we're in much better shape than we were a second ago. 1 heart is not a good place to be when you're already on level 2, because there's a lot of enemies that can do 1 heart of damage and just end your game. So I'm a lot more comfortable at 3 hearts like we are now. Green Wraith, which goes right through the walls. Almost bombed myself, and then I hurt myself on a puffing mushroom, which, good job, idiot. You can spot those wall mimics by the fact that they're dancing. This right here is why I won the run. I was hesitant to drop my fencing sword, but red items heal you every 10 kills, and this is a crossbow. I cannot overstate how good crossbows are. You get 3 shots from up to 3 tiles away, and then you reload, which acts as a rest step where you don't have to move. So once you get the rhythm down, you can just absolutely rain fire down on your enemies from a totally safe distance, as you see right here. I'm still getting the hang of it at this stage in the run, but 100%, this item is why I won. Like, if you're wondering how it was going to happen, this is it. Of course, I did take some damage forgetting to reload, but, you know, growing pains. Like right there, I almost charged the golem. If you're out of ammo, you can still melee attack enemies that are directly next to you, but you don't really want to be doing that as a crossbow user. It's just not optimal play. You can see your current ammo by looking at the icon on top, but you're really better off just counting, so that you don't have to look away from the enemy. And just the shop, and then I think we're good to go. You notice here when I blew up the wall to get in, that blasting shop walls actually drops gold coins, because they're made out of gold. Oh, hey, there's a blue sword like I was talking about. Levitation boots. That's the other ingredient for success here. You're going to see why. But yeah, you'll see later on that when I have a ton of bombs to throw around, I start blasting shop walls for money. And that's a good way to just save up real quick if there's an item you want and you don't have enough money yet. I blew those up hoping for food. I got a skeleton and 4 more bombs. It could have been worse, but I was really hoping for some food. But that's okay, because we've got a blood weapon and all the heals. You can see I'm already up to 4.5 hearts. And now we can kill bats from further away, which is good because I talked about why crimson bats are terrible. The other thing about this crossbow is you saw I shot that armadillo while he was rolling. Normally you wouldn't be able to damage him because they have armor when they're rolling. Crossbow penetrates 1 point of armor, which means you can damage foes you wouldn't normally be able to. That's another big factor in how I survived level 4 later on. One interesting caveat with the levitation boots is not only do you not get affected by traps and floor tiles, you can't even choose to be affected by them if you wanted to, which means they're not a good not a good boot for speedrunners, because speedrunners complete the game faster by intentionally diving down every trapdoor they see. And once you're wearing levitation boots, you can't do that anymore. You have to use the stairs or wait for the song to end. At this point I've already beaten the level boss and I'm free to leave, but I saw that there was another room down here and I hadn't found the shop yet, so that's what we're doing now. Moles like this enemy took me some time to figure out. They don't surface and become vulnerable until they walk up next to you, so you either need to dig a dirt tile or attack a different enemy as they approach you. That way you're not moving away from them. They need to get next to you, and then they're vulnerable for 1 frame before they hurt you. And after we came all the way here, none of the items interest me, so we're going to leave again. But we'll get some gold first. That actually wasn't even the optimal wall to bomb. The other 3 corners are better because you get 5 tiles instead of 4. I guess at this point I decided, hey, I've got tons of bombs, let's just get tons of money for later. Which was a good call, because I ended up needing to buy an item that would not have been affordable otherwise. And then I ran out of time and got trapdoored. This boss. Oh, this boss. So, because this is a conga song, every 8th beat is a rest, which means you need to not try and take a turn on that beat. Of course, I keep trying to, which means I keep losing my multiplier and I keep fumbling my turns. And that's the main reason I take damage in this fight, because I'm not observing the beats. But it's okay, because these giant zombie conga lines are no problem for a crossbow wielder. So the stick is, until you beat the 2 conga lines, King Conga is invincible. And then once you kill all the zombies, you can fight him. And he's only got 3 health, so it's not so bad. But, like, if you don't have a good setup, you can get totally overwhelmed by all those zombies, and Conga just finishes you off, no problem. This is where the levitation boots become really critical. You see those fire tiles? If you stand on those for more than 1 beat, they damage you. Which means if you're standing on one and you accidentally attack an enemy instead of moving, you're going to take damage. Those ice tiles to the left there act like a rest. You need to not touch anything while you slide across them. You don't have control of yourself, and if you try to move, that counts as a miss. So the ice tiles are annoying too. But critically, I am flying, so I don't care about any of that stuff, which makes this whole level a lot easier to manage. I can just treat it like regular floor and fight enemies. Because normally that's like the main thing that adds difficulty to this zone, is you have to really think about terrain for the first time in the run. And then they gave me a green dragon for the staircase boss. Like, a green dragon is the easiest staircase boss you can get. He doesn't even have a breath weapon. Like, nothing. Just took him out. All these random elementals and stuff I'm fighting are harder than a green dragon, because at least they have environmental effects. They do have less health, though. So right here I'm being stingy with my bombs, and I try to put the barrel next to a bomb tile so I can just, you know, set off a bomb from the level. But then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm levitating. I can't use bomb tiles. So I bombed the barrel, and then inside the barrel was a bomb, so that was a total waste of time. Purple specters are scary. You saw that one right there? The first time you swing at them, no matter how far away they are, they teleport behind you. And you have to swing at them again before they get you. So if you know how to handle them, it's fine. But the first time you see them, it can really catch you off guard. More free bombs, courtesy of the torch letting me see through walls. And we'll go check the shop before we leave. So this here, the Crown of Thorns, is good if you want some kind of healing, but it hurts to put on and does not stack with my blood weapon, so I don't bother with it. Now at this point, my kit's pretty strong. I'm really just looking to book it through the rest of the levels without spending too much time, because as you can see, I'm starting to get overwhelmed by how many enemies there are. And this is even with the peace ring that reduces how many spawn. So you can tell it's getting real serious. Typically at this point, I'm just checking the shop and running to the next level as fast as possible. And once we get to Zone 4, I don't even check the shop unless it's right there. I just leave. But critically, there's this really nasty plate armor. 2 entire defense, and it prevents knockback. So I want that. Like, it's real expensive though, which means I just gotta start getting as much gold as possible, and that's why we start burning bombs on all these wall corners. But to be clear, 2 defense. Like, someone could hit me for 3 defense, and I'll take... for 3 damage, and I'll take just 1, which trivializes a lot of the later game enemies from being really, really scary to super manageable. You'll see I take a nasty beating from an ogre in Zone 4 that 100% would have killed me, except I was wearing plate armor. So, yeah, definitely good stuff. A good use of literally all my money. You can see now I only have 33 coins. But this is not an attempt at a high score run. I am just trying to survive. That's the thing about spending money. If you're going for a high score, your money is the high score. So you don't want to go spending 1,400 on plate armor if you're going for a high score. But, you know, not our goal here. I am not a talented player. And you see I saw all those horses and shit come at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go down the stairs. Horses actually aren't that bad, though. They don't have any kind of shielding. You just gotta swing at them and they turn into a regular skeleton. And usually those skeletons then have shields, which, again, you gotta... But I can actually hit shielded skeletons from the front with my crossbow, because it penetrates armor. Just not when I have no ammo and I'm trying to melee them. I was really panic flailing at this point. Like, I thought I was gonna have to use my extra life. But it worked out okay. You can see this enemy to the right here keeps stepping on the confusion trap and doesn't know how to get to me. Because he's trying to move towards me, but once he's confused, he moves away instead. The same thing can happen to players, but not in this case because I'm flying. And I think that was a dragon. Why do they keep giving me green dragons in Zone 3? It's probably because of the peace ring, actually. I don't think you'd normally get green dragons this late in the game. So what that block enemy actually does, they don't really damage you, but they move pretty fast. They move every beat, and they try to shove you into a wall, and that's how they damage you. But I handled most of them before that happened. What are we looking for? Oh, there's one more room to the upper left. You know what? You know what this is? I realized that I had the level under control, and I wanted to try and get as many kills as possible to heal myself with the blood weapon. And then I checked the shop, and it was only glass items, which I don't use, because when you get hit, all your glass items break, and I get hit a lot. So yeah, that's what that little jaunt was about. Now we just head straight for the stairs.
Coral Rift.
So this boss fight's interesting. I like this one a lot, because normally the different instrument tentacles just come at you two at a time, and you just gotta hit them. But what I did is I swung directly at the head, which means the entire orchestra comes to get you at once. And you see they're spreading water everywhere. If I wasn't flying, that would be a huge mobility issue and probably get me killed. But because I'm flying and I have a crossbow, I'm able to fight the entire orchestra off at once and kill the boss without taking damage. Like, look at how much of the area is flooded. That would be a huge problem. But I basically just stomp up and down his face because, like, crossbow. Crossbow is so good. And then I'm like, oh, hey, free items. What's this? Ring of Regeneration. Because I just lowered my maximum health by 1 and then switched back, I now have 1 empty heart container. So that reward actually cost me a heart. But whatever, at this point it doesn't matter that much. I try to remember how to fight spiders and just get myself hurt. And then I was like, oh yeah, I remember how this level works. The goal is to open as few rooms as possible because the enemies are terrifying and plentiful. There's actually an entire enemy type in this zone whose job is to use a shovel to open a wall without asking you, and thereby let in more enemies. That's also the purpose of these golems, which can break walls down in their pursuit of you. So really you're trying to just navigate as few rooms as possible and make your way to the exit, but there's a bunch of mechanics in play that keep opening up new rooms, so it kind of pushes against your ability to control the playing field. But you can see, like, to my left there, I'm not going to open that room. I'm just going to leave it. Here's the ogre I was talking about earlier. I'm like, I don't remember how to fight these, and I just get punched right in the face. And I can't believe how long it took me to remember. You just hit him and you move to the side. Like, that's it. That's all you got to do, and you're fine. Now, the interesting thing about these rooms is you can have one of those items for free, but then a bunch of enemies attack you. I didn't really want any of those items, so I just left it. You notice when I attack this golem, it puts a green tile on the floor. Those actually curse you with shrink, which makes your sprite tiny, and also means you die in one hit from anything, no matter how much health you have. But again, because I'm levitating, shrink tiles don't affect me, which makes those golems a lot easier to fight, and I can basically attack them with impunity and have no need to retreat. I cannot tell you how many times I've died in Zone 4 because of Shrink Tile. They really suck. These swordsmen are tricky as well. Normally their armor means you have to hit them once. I'm talking about the swordsman, he's not even here yet. He's that guy off to the right there. Normally you have to hit them once, they get knocked back, and then they swing at you, you dodge them, you hit them a second time, and they don't take damage until the second hit. But because I've got an armor-piercing crossbow, I can literally just shoot them and it's fine. Like, I couldn't believe that on top of healing me and attacking from so far away, it was also armor-piercing. Like, I never realized before this run how good the crossbow is. It's really good, guys. Normally this many enemies I'd be really overwhelmed, but I'm like, I'll just back up and keep shooting, it'll be fine. And it is, like, none of these enemies even slow me down. I get hit once there, but I'm healing so much it hardly matters. And there's a shrine that's like, hey, do you want a weird curse at Zone 4? And I'm like, no, I'm not even going to talk to you. Look at that hippo statue on the wall. These are a little bit interesting, because when you step in front of their line of sight, they try to cast Fireball on you. And I think it gets me maybe once this run, I don't remember. Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. These coffins just endlessly spawn skeletons until you destroy them. So I was thinking, maybe I should try and use this to heal. But then after I did it once, I got bored. I was like, I'm not gonna stay here and kill 10 more enemies. I'll probably get hit before I get to full health. So yeah, I got tired of that. It would have been awfully dumb if I got hit by the gargoyle right after spending all that time healing myself. So these trap rooms, they're just full of spikes. Doesn't matter, I can just fly over them. Now that right there, that pixie that I accidentally hit, they blow up if you attack them, which means you need to not move towards them. But if you let them touch you first, they actually heal you for 1 heart. So the tricky thing with exploding pixies is you need to let them get next to you, and then you need to find some way to stall yourself without moving. It didn't occur to me at the time. I could have just reloaded my crossbow, and it would have been fine. But instead I blew up the pixie and hurt myself like an idiot. Shop's right here, might as well look. Yeah, I did decide to buy the heal spell, because why not have 2 sources of healing instead of 1? These purple urns are interesting. They usually have real good stuff in them, but they have 3 health, which means you either need to burn 3 bombs, or you need to find 3 spike traps. As you can see, it's got a spell, it's got a literal shotgun, and it's got the best healing item in the game, which is the stake haunch. I don't want the shotgun because my crossbow has served me really well, but I'm happy for the other 2 items. Particularly the bomb spell, which lets me drop a bomb for free every, I think, 15 kills or so. Because as you can see in the bottom left, my actual bombs, I'm down to just 1. And I really don't want to run out, because I want to be able to keep opening things like crates and such. So this time, we got another fairy, and I'm like, I'm not going to screw it up this time. And I managed to actually get healed and not blow up the fairy. These black bats are kind of like crimson bats, but they do, I think, 2 hearts of damage. So definitely trying to watch out for those. And here's the exit room. You can tell because it's absolutely full of shit. And that's where I got Fireball over the gargoyle. Seriously though, they put like 8 enemies in this room, 3 of which were shrink golems. There's no way I would have survived this without a crossbow. And yet here I am at full health. I even got to kill the leprechaun, which gives you increased gold drops and better items. Normally the leprechauns are hard to catch, but when you're just shelling them from 3 spaces away, they're not going to get away from you. Alright, penultimate boss, second to last one in the game. And here I am, dancing back and forth, trying to figure out the beat. The trick with this boss is you need to destroy all 4 bells and then get him to hit the gong at top center. Like, it's no good for you to hit it, he's got to hit it. That's the only way to end the fight. I cannot tell you how many attempts it took me to figure this out. Oh, and if he hits any of the bells, it summons enemies, which is why there's a big ogre chasing me. I wanted to just bomb them, but at this point my bomb spell's on cooldown, and I don't have any real bombs left. Also that dash attack, good lord. But now the gong's exposed, and I just gotta get him to hit it. which would have happened there if I hadn't gotten his way. There we go.
Dad?
Cadence, I'm sorry. I was under his spell. Leaving so soon? I guess you don't have...
That's the Necrodancer. In case it wasn't obvious.
I think I know how to defeat him, Cadence. But we'll have to work together. Follow my lead.
Stop, Dad, you're embarrassing me. So this is a fun final boss fight, because you actually got to control 2 characters at once. And if Dad gets killed, you lose the game. So that's annoying. But he's pretty strong for not having, you know, any items other than... I think his armor might be 2 armor. I don't know. He's got 2 armor and he's got +1 attack. The point is you got to keep both characters alive. And they both move on the same input. So the trick is getting them to form the shapes of these buttons so that you can hit both buttons at once, thereby bombing the dance stage and gradually exposing the Necrodancer. See, I'm kind of struggling with this pattern because when you attack enemies, that character doesn't move. Which, if you're clever, you can use to get into position. I mostly use it to fall out of position by accident. Cadence is kind of taking a beating up there, but she's got so much health it doesn't matter. Now I finally got enough peace and quiet to reposition. Here's where the real fight starts, after the stage is destroyed. I never noticed before, but there's still 2 skeletons dancing up there. I wonder if you could manually blow them up with bombs. They're not doing anything wrong. They can stay. Now, what I've done here is I've dropped the crossbow, finally, and I've picked up the golden loot, because it's the only weapon that can hit the Necrodancer. You're literally required to take it to beat the game. I could have had Dorian, my dad, pick it up, but I wasn't coordinated to do that while also dodging the Necrodancer. God, he gets me with a couple freeze spells. Like, if I hadn't had so much armor, that dragon might have got me. So the way the loot works is every time you move, there's a blast of sound around you that hits adjacent enemies. And so basically I'm trying to run towards the Necrodancer without getting hit by his freeze cone. Which is why you gotta approach him from the top or bottom, since he blasts to the left and right. And there we have it. That's the whole game.
All along, it was a golden loot you were after. But why?
You're about to find out.
Alright, it's 2 games down. We're going to move on to Heat Signature back in outer space. If you've seen my previous attempts at streaming this, I am not great at this game, and this one actually took forever to get a winning run. Full disclosure, I'm not using a random seed for this one. I'm attempting and reattempting the daily challenge, which means I know exactly what the levels are going to be ahead of time after I play them once. The catch is, I was determined to get a 100% perfect run, so it is obnoxious how many tries it took. My goal is to capture 3 enemies who were responsible for the death of my brother, I think. I don't remember which family member it was. And I don't want to kill anybody, which is why I'm just knocking them out with a concussion hammer. But if someone dies to friendly fire, or if they hit a fuel tank and fly into space from a destroyed section of the ship, anything. If anybody dies for any reason in my presence, I have failed my secondary objective. So we're trying to be real careful here. And I just gone fucked up and set off the alarm, which means my capture target down there is going to start running for the teleporter. Luckily, I'm between him and the teleporter, so this is real easy. Bonk. Now he's knocked out. I just got to clean up the rest of the ship, though, because this is level 1, and there's lots of items available, and I really want to stock up before the harder levels that we're going to face next. Also, after this many attempts, I was feeling vindictive, so we're going to knock out everybody on the ship. You see that red bubble around them? The second I walk into that, the guard becomes aware of my presence. But luckily I can swing at them from pretty far away with the concussion hammer, which can knock out 3 dudes in a room before any of them respond. And at this point I expected the ship to be secured, but I must have missed a guy. There he is, that glowing light off to the right. So we're just gonna knock that guy out and we're done. Now because the ship is secured, I can basically take my pick of all the items and then pilot the ship home instead of even having to use my own pod. The only danger that would remain is if there were any active turrets in the ship, but I don't think there's any on this one. So we just head on home, double check that I've got all the items I want, and we're done. That's mission 1 out of 3. Now the second one was giving me a little bit of trouble, and I've got so many items at this point I don't really need more. So rather than actually playing mission number 2, we're just going to cheese it. And the way you do that is you throw yourself into space. Like so. And you teleporter swap with the target, so now they're in space instead of you. Because I'm trying to capture and not kill the target, I have to get myself to safety and use my pod to pick them up before they suffocate to death. Luckily, I was able to teleport around the corner using my Sidewinder teleporter. So now I'm hidden in that treasure room and I can get the target. There we go. And I want to just get my pod back near the ship so that I can actually use it later and it's not lost in space somewhere. Swap some items around and we're good to go. I'm just going to throw this hammer at the window and fly into space. Ready for mission 3. One thing I do a lot when I throw my hammer into space is I forget to pick it up from the space station where it teleports back to. But this time I did remember, only because this is the nth attempt and I had it drilled into my head by now. But now we're just gearing up for the third and hardest mission of the run, which is going to be on a size large ship. Gotta be a little bit delicate with my landing, because if I fly into the light of that window, I'm gonna get shot by the ship's weapon system. So I decide to come in this side instead. The door's locked, but I'm able to use my key cloner to grab it from the console and still get through. The problem with this ship is all the guards are wearing armor. So what I'm doing is I'm dropping an acid trap on them and then knocking them out after their armor falls off. The acid trap's great because it has 5 charges and it recharges over time. As long as you pace yourself, you can essentially knock out as many armored guards as you want. You see that little caution sign over their heads though? That's a bad situation because once that fills up, they fire at me. And, you know, I don't want to get shot. So what I've done is I've put on an emergency shield to prevent that from happening. Fun fact, if I get shot and they throw me into space, I can't save myself with my pod. The frail attribute my character has means I'll just die instantly if that happens. Run over. Now, the next danger I gotta contend with is you see those red footprints on the ground? That means a tracker is coming after me. And if they see me, they will shoot me with their high velocity rifle before I can respond. So what I've done is I've crashed him with a crash beam so that his tracker turns off, and then I just hit him with my hammer. Now we got 5 guys in this room to deal with. So I'm like, 5 guys is too many. We're gonna put on a stealth shield. And because I'm behind the stealth shield, they can't see me as long as it's facing them. And we just scoot right by because they don't have anything I want anyway. Still nowhere near my target though. He's behind a level 5 door and I think I've got like a level 3 key right now. So we still gotta get through 2 more doors before we can even get within spitting distance of him. And these guards are still here, so I put my shield back on. Which gets me through a few rooms, but now I don't have the key I need. And I cannot reach the one all the way over there. So we just settle for this one, that way we can get through the next door. And I don't feel like fighting these guys either, so more stealth shield. They kind of see me, but then I'm past them. And now we're almost near our target, but he's got 4 other guys in the room with him. So we're going to have to do some more acid trap, probably. But since I'm behind the stealth shield, nobody is responding in a timely fashion. So that's 1. Now they're investigating that body, and I can teleport the acid trap to my pocket, drop it again. Now he steps onto it, that's 3. Move the trap onto him, that's 4. And for style points, I use my swapper and swap with my target onto the acid trap. Now he's knocked out. Now I just gotta extract him and we're all good. So we take the throw the hammer at the window approach to exiting the ship. It is critical that I catch him before he suffocates, though. That would result in failing my mission. And that's it. Heat signature run is done. Personal mission complete. Here's the 4th and hardest game I'm showing tonight. This took me forever to get through. You do not even want to know how many attempts. You're going to see that a lot of the reason I even survived this is sheer luck. So those arrow traps, like I disarmed right there, they fire an arrow at the first thing they see moving and do 2 damage. For reference, I have 4 health to start with, so 2 damage is a lot, especially given that the trap also sends you flying, potentially dealing more damage if you crash into anything dangerous. A lot of times getting hit by an arrow trap can end your run right there. So, like this one right in front of me, I'm trying to be real careful not to trigger any of those while I'm standing near them. That up there is the dog. We have to rescue the dog on every level we can because rescuing the dog gives you 1 health point. And as I said, I start with 4, not a lot. I'm also trying to gather as much money as I can because I am not a talented enough player to win after robbing the shops and angering the merchant guild. So we want to buy all of our items legit to avoid pissing off the merchants. If you're real good at this game, you tend to always rob the shops, that way you can keep your money for the high score. But I've literally never won a game after pissing off the merchants, so I'm not going to do it here. I skipped the in-between level scene, but what you didn't see is I got a doggy kiss, and in the top left, my health is now up to 5. Now the reason I'm throwing all these pots, you can see a spider just came out of that one. I'm breaking all the pots because a lot of times they have money in them, but I'm not touching them or going near them while they break because a lot of times they have enemies in them. And if you're touching a pot that's got an enemy in it when you break it, you're going to take damage, and you want to avoid doing that in this game. This here's a good find. Bomb shop. I just want all the bombs because bombs let you basically cheat through any situation in this game. Like if there's a wall you can't jump over or a room you can't get into, you just bomb the wall. And you never can have too many bombs. I didn't buy the paste though, because usually you can get that for free by killing a giant spider, and usually you'll see at least 1 giant spider before the end of the mines. So we saved 4,000 gold by not buying the paste. Get some rope. Rope is the easiest early game way to ascend. You just throw a bundle of rope and then you can climb it. And this here is bad news. You can see the doggy kissing booth on the left. That means the shopkeeper has taken ownership of the dog, and I can't rescue him without pissing off the shopkeeper, which, again, I'm not going to do. Here's a giant spider. The way you kill these is you diagonally throw a bomb into their spider web and wait for it to blow up. I also got a bonus disarm of that arrow trap on the left. Now I've got paste, which allows my bombs to stick to the first surface they touch, rather than just, you know, being subject to gravity the way bombs do. Gotta watch out for this caveman, because if he attacks me, I will go flying, and who knows how much damage that would be. You can see I'm throwing a rock to kill enemies, because using my whip or jumping on them can be a bit riskier. Trying to just front whip something that's right near you is the most dangerous way to fight things in this game. So generally, if possible, you want to throw something at them. And I didn't explore the whole left side level, but I got to the door so easy I didn't want to waste it. That spider almost got me. This here's a shrine to Kali. If you put a stunned or dead enemy on it, they'll be sacrificed to the jungle god, which improves your favor with her, meaning enemy spawns become less harsh, you find items more consistently, and if you sacrifice enough stuff to her, she'll give you free items outright, Like, sacrificing a live dog, you just immediately get an item, because that gives you the most favor out of anything you can give to her. But I'm not going to intentionally kill a dog because I'm not a monster, so that's not an option. But if I were a talented player, and if I was trying to go for a hell run, something like that, if you want to go to hell, you kill the dog. I guess that makes sense. Oh, of course, here I accidentally got the dog shot by an arrow trap, which sucks for him, but at least nobody died. Look at all these bats attacking me. I had no choice but to show them my dog foo. Very, very risky situation. The answer was to just throw the dog at them a lot, and somehow none of those bats hit me. That arrow trap I can see is already disarmed, but I'm not taking any chances, so I dropped that block in front of it. And now we've got the key for the locked chest that we saw earlier, which gives you the Umlaut Eye, that item I just picked up. Lets you see the location of gemstones in the walls. It's also critical to the side quest that you do for a hell run, but I'm not attempting a hell run. I just like being able to see where the gems are for extra money. Given that I've got 24 bombs at this point, bombing the walls just to get more cash is not a bad option. Alright, so now we're in the jungle. This is possibly the most dangerous zone in the game, because it's still early on. If you're not real good, you're probably not that kitted yet, so you don't have a ton of good items. But the danger level goes up drastically from the mines. So generally this is where most of your runs end, and it's amazing how often frogs kill you. You can see those ones just hit me there. Blue frogs jump on you to hurt you. Orange frogs do that, but they also explode after you hit them. So definitely dangerous. Definitely a dangerous situation. Blowing up a few things here to grab those red gems because they're the most valuable color. And trying not to get hit by all these bats that are chasing me. Trying also not to get hit in the head by that stone I threw. If I hadn't been underwater, that stone would have hit me and done damage. But in this case, it was okay. Gotta really watch out for that Tiki Man on the right. They're super aggressive and will kill you with their boomerang. Which is why I was in a hurry and I fell and hurt myself like an idiot. But now I have a boomerang, so it's all good. Didn't even look for the dog. I was like, you know what? This is the jungle. We're not gonna stick around. Well, welcome to the jungle, baby. You gonna die. That's generally how this game goes. So they gave me a dog right by the door here, which is convenient because he was easy to get to, but inconvenient because now I've got to carry him for the entire level if I want to save him. And I can only carry one thing at a time, which means if I want to carry the dog and the boomerang, I've got to do a little bit of item juggling. And I want to make sure the dog doesn't get eaten by a man-eating plant like the one in the bottom left corner, or fall onto spikes and get impaled. So I've got to find safe places to put the dog. You can see I've put him there. He'll fall into that pit and get stuck. That way I can continue forward and clear the way for him without him dying while I'm gone. This is a real dicey area. If you touch that man-eating plant while it's not stunned, it eats you. You die. It doesn't matter how much health you have, you die instantly. So this is actually a really dangerous spot to navigate, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get back up there right away. But what I do is I feed this poor man to the plant, and then the plant is stunned because it had a big meal, and I can get it out of my way. That's all that was required, is cold-blooded murder. But now the plant's back up again, and it hasn't even been hurt yet because it didn't get hit, it just ate a guy. So I want my boomerang back, but that was a real close one. Like, I almost died there. Which is why we just hit the plant till it's dead. I'm not going to try and jump over that thing. Blue frog. There's a piranha in this lake, which I really don't want to mess with. So what I do is I wait till he's off to the right, and then I kill him. And here, my trouble of bringing the boomerang is vindicated, because all these monkeys would have fucked me up trying to climb across. Now I can kill them safely from a distance. And I figure I'm close enough to the exit now I can just bring the dog the rest of the way without pre-scouting it. Risky area though, because if you fall on spikes, that's again instant death regardless of health level. Right, so we're halfway through the jungle, or actually this is the last jungle screen, but this is an undead zone, which means I'm going to encounter a lot of vampires, a lot of skeletons, generally just a scarier area. It is neat because there's one grave you can bomb to go to the Haunted Castle, which is how I unlocked Van Helsing, the character I'm playing as right now. But I don't really want to do something risky like that when I'm just trying to win the normal game. Which is also the reason I didn't touch the Skull Idol, because when you touch the Skull Idol, it summons the ghost, and the ghost kills you instantly if it touches you. That's generally a recurring theme in this game, things that kill you instantly if you touch them. So I consider coming back for the idol later, but I'm not going to touch it before I know where the exit is. Critically, we're trying to avoid fall damage by dropping down carefully onto the highest point of the floor below. And here's a good find. That grave has a shotgun buried underneath it. We're definitely going to come back for that. Shotguns are generally the best, most valuable weapon in the game. They're pretty expensive. You can usually get one by robbing a shopkeeper, but again, we do not want to piss off the merchants. So finding one for free just in the ground at the price of one bomb, that is real good. Like real good stuff. I actually came back for it now because there's a lot of enemies near the door that I do not want to tangle with. Although that vampire got stuck in a spider web, thereby rendering him completely helpless. At this point I started backtracking because I wanted to maybe get the Skull Idol, but then I realized it was going to be one, maybe two more ropes and possibly some bombs, and I was like, nah, I don't really want to take that risk anyway. Get my doggy kisses, and we'll proceed to the next level. Which is another... I know I said the last screen was the last jungle, but I was remembering wrong. It's 4 screens per zone, not 3. And this is, again, another undead level, which 2 in a row is not common. So, yeah, we get to contend with more hopping vampires. And also non-hopping vampires, which are scarier, honestly. I guess hopping vampires kind of take the place of spiders, and non-hopping vampires, the flying ones, take the place of bats. Like this guy right here, which manages to hit me before I climb away, and then I get him with the shotgun. Critically, he drops a cape, which means I can slow fall by hitting jump a second time in the air, and this can be toggled on and off, which means you can move very far horizontally in a very precise fashion, and fall damage essentially only happens if you're stupid. Which is real good, because fall damage can end a lot of runs if you're not careful. These spike traps around the exit do 4 damage if they hit you, so I'm trying real hard not to get hit by those. The trick with these is after the spike pokes outwards, it slowly draws inwards, and while it's drawing inwards, the spikes are not dangerous. You can walk right behind them. You just gotta be gone before they poke out again. So what you do is you stand next to the trap to trigger it, then you get on past it before it triggers again. Because 4 damage and a stun, probably gonna kill you. You're gonna get hit again before the stun wears off. These Yetis are generally peaceful, but they will grab you and fucking throw you if you touch them. Because they're playful, but getting thrown in the ice caves will probably kill you. So you gotta not touch the Yetis if possible. Which now they're between me and my exit, so... Sorry, Yetis. One of them survived. The ice caves are easy to get through because there's a lot of... Oh, big Yeti! Because there's a lot of open space. But there's also a bottomless void at the bottom of the level, which is easy to fall in, and that'll end your run. Again, regardless of how much health you have. So you gotta be careful. I really like how I handled that, where I just dodged to the right, and then I blew up that spaceship to blast a hole in the floor. So I didn't even kill the big Yeti, but he fell down out of my way, and I was able to completely avoid him. I didn't even see the dog in that last level. was an easy one. The ice cave tends to be the fastest zone, because you either fall off a cliff and die, or if you have a jetpack or a cape, you just coast right through it, like, as fast as possible. There's a dog there, but he's by the entrance, and I don't want to have to carry him all the way down and then climb all the way back up, so I'm like, dog, sorry, you're going to live in the ice caves. Just keep on going. Now, right now I want to kill that mammoth to the left. Mammoths hit you with a freeze ray, which I'm pretty sure is always a one-shot kill. Like, you get frozen, your body shatters, doesn't matter how much health you had. This late in the game, most stuff kills you in one hit. And the shop's just a lottery for a bomb box, so not really useful to me. I'm just gonna leave. I accidentally sent an exploding Yeti into his front door. I'm lucky that didn't piss the shopkeeper off in some way. Like, they're real touchy. This message, 4th of July, is a reference to Independence Day, the film about the alien invasion. And what that means is there's an alien mothership in the area. Right here I get greedy, and I'm like, oh man, I could sacrifice all these Yetis to Kali and probably get a free item. So I start hanging around. But this is a problem because that alien is attacking and he blows up half the shrine, which pisses Kali off. So now she's pissed at me, and the spawns for the rest of the game are going to be harder. I try to appease her a little bit by sacrificing that one Yeti, but then I'm like, this isn't worth it. I gotta leave. I gotta get out of here. I just took 2 damage and now Kali's mad. Like, I thought I was going to lose the run because of that. I've never previously won a run where Kali was mad at me. Oh, maybe the one Yeti did help. And now we're in the temple. These mummies. Oh, these mummies. Those locusts, I don't even know how much damage they do. It's a lot. And now he's got me cornered. There's really no way past that guy. So I try and shoot him a bit, but then I'm like, no, we're just going to go around. Because bombs. Bombs are great, yo. I don't have a compass, so I don't know exactly where the exit is, but I know I gotta go 3 screens down. And we're trying to be real careful about this lava. I could have just used my cape there, but I wasn't really thinking of it. I was thinking lava bad, fire hot. This is exciting because this is the 4th and final zone of the game, and if I can get through this, it's just the final boss and then it's over. So I've really only gotten here, like in terms of the last 2 nights trying to get this winning run, I really only got here 3 times, and the other 2 I died. So the pressure's on. And this here is the safest exit room I've ever seen. Like normally there's spike traps surrounding the exit. So I'm hoping that means I'm going to be okay, but it's too soon to say. Dog right near the entrance, so I'm not going to bother with him. Sorry, dog. Waiting for that jungle man to get unstunned. I'm like, no, I'll just go left instead. You gotta watch out for jungle guys, because they will attack you unprovoked, and they just send you flying. And if that happens in the temple, I'm almost certainly dead. Didn't want to go down there to the left because there's an arrow trap, but here's the exit. We're all good. I could have explored a bit more for gold, and there was a jewel right there, but I'm not going to chance it. Not in the temple. In case you're wondering why I don't like the merchants, this one's literally selling a slave. What an asshole. Those wasps, oh geez. If it weren't for the shotgun, that would have been a bad situation. That right there, I almost died there. So that eyeball block, look at that. He's like a thwomp, but he moves in all 4 directions. And if he crushes you against a wall, floor, or ceiling, instant death. Health doesn't matter. And I had to jump over him, like he almost got me. I'm not telling you how many times I've got all the way to the temple and immediately been killed by a thwomp. Now this mummy's in kind of an inconvenient spot. he's moving towards me because I'm too close to him, so I keep trying to climb up and give him some space. And then I'm like, I'll just shoot him, but this corpse is in the way. So I really shouldn't have attacked that red mask guy unprovoked. It made killing the mummy a bit harder. But here we are, it's the exit. Jump on that guy's head, literally, just to be vindictive. 1500, that means this is the last screen of the normal Olmec run. Now, Olmec's a tricky fight. If you know what you're doing, it's not hard, but if you don't know how he works, he is the worst. He's completely invincible, and the only thing that can kill him is lava, which you can't see it right now, but there's lava all the way down at the bottom of the screen, below all the floor. So what I do is I start by getting him off to the left here. I'm like, Olmec, you just wait here, I'm not ready yet. And I spend about 2 minutes just grabbing all this junk up here. Because right now I only have 14 bombs. You should be able to beat Olmec with 5 if you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I want as many bombs as possible. So we're going to hang out up here for a bit and gather. This would be faster and easier with a jetpack, but I've got so many ropes it kind of doesn't matter. Anything after this, like if it's use it or lose it at this point, this is literally the last level in the game. Well, of the run I'm doing. If I want to do a hell run, there's a lot more. The nice thing about the top area of Olmec's lair is there's tons of boxes, which even if you don't have the bombs you need to win the fight, you can usually find them up here. Like in this box. I think this is the one. Nope, it's the next one. Like in this box where I found literally a dozen bombs, and now that should be plenty, so I'm ready to fight Olmec. What you do is you get nice and ready before he comes over. You drop a bomb in between 2 floor tiles to create a shape just like that. Olmec is 4 tiles wide, so what I'm doing is I'm creating a pit all the way to the lava, which is also 4 tiles wide. The idea is that Olmec will smash down and land in the lava, killing himself without even reaching me. That's the hope. And I should be able to leave those right there, those 2 bottom tiles, because Olmec should smash through 1 layer if he's doing his smash attack. So now we're ready for him. What you do is you teeter on this edge here. Oops, drop my shotgun. You teeter like that, and Olmec should try and smash you. That didn't go according to plan. So now things are hairy, and I've got a plan B real fast. See, he almost crushed me to death on the wall there. I thought I was gonna lose. But now he's not lined up properly, so this isn't good. Now he's in the right spot, but he's not doing his smash attack. I really should have bombed those last 2 blocks just in case. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. Let's just make the hole wider, I guess. I still have a bunch of bombs. This is why I needed more than 5. I would not have won just trying to do it with 5. I would not have won just trying to do it with 14 like I had when I came in the room. And he's still not doing his damn smash attack. I guess he only does it when you're below him, so standing on his head doesn't help. So I'm like, that's fine, I'll just dig another pit right here. Hopefully without blowing myself up. So now he's able to climb back up there, but he's still stuck in the pit. But now that he's got more room to move, I can get bombs down past him. Like that. What's up, Boom Olmec? Let's go. And finally he falls in the lava. So that's it. That's the main, like, central route of Spelunky. Not doing any side quests or anything special, but the point is we beat it. So that's going to be it for me tonight. It is embarrassing how long it took me to get all these winning runs, even though ultimately it totaled just 80 minutes. I'm going to be back with another series next week. I haven't fully decided yet what I'm doing. I do want to get back into Monster Hunter. I'm not going to do it next week. I have some other stuff I want to do first. But definitely more Monster Hunter within the next couple months. And I don't know, we'll just play it by ear.